Hello everybody, how are we doing? Ooh, that is weird, how it goes like that. Eek. Let's make it smaller. As usually, I'm very prepared. What are you talking about? I'm incredibly prepared for this live stream. All right, that looks good. How is everybody? Hello, Pia. Hello, Efrendo. Hello, Nilf Daddy. Heisenplay, what's up? Blurred Motion, how are you doing? Efrendo is here, I already said. The real thing, what's up? Yeah, just found out that my keyboard isn't working, so I'm gonna have to put on my alternative keyboard. Something is fucked up about this computer is that whenever I do something with the USB, I change the USB, another USB gets fucked up. I don't know why. It just happens. All right, let's hope that didn't fuck up any of the USBs. Yeah. Oh, it's you, Val. Okay. So, disclaimer. Me and Val were supposed to be having a debate today, an antinatalism debate. It just happened that we yesterday just met in this vegan chat, and just I screamed a lot. Val explained himself, I think, very well. We came to irreducible conclusion that we just have different values, I guess. But I really didn't feel like cashing it out again here live, because I think I understood Val. I think Val understood me. And then we talked and became friends again, so don't worry about it. It's not like we're not fighting anymore, so that's fine. Today we gathered here to see if carnists are okay, guys. Hello Bianca, by the way, hello. Once in a while, we just gotta check in with our brothers and sisters in that are you generally against our fight, but nonetheless, we just gotta check in. Are carnists okay though? I do worry. I have this non-binary motherly worry for everybody, including carnists. So sometimes it just seems they're not okay, like they need a hug. So that's what we're gonna check. But first, I would like to share this on one of my social media. So if you want to be in the thumbnail, this is the time that you type a comment while I'm creating a thumbnail. So let me know when you finished. Hi, what's up, Jeremy? If you want to be in a thumbnail, this is the time. Oh, people are not getting it, I think. Oh, this doesn't work. Fuck. Hold on. Oh, there you go. No, that was bad. So that's gonna be better. All right, we've got a thing that we can share on social media. I'm sorry, this takes a little while. Oh, I keep banging at that thing. Other carnists. Oh, I keep typing there as well. Seriously, how did I survive so far? Carnists. Okay. Let's find out. This is the time where you can share the stream as well. Let's find out. Are the carnists okay? I don't know. I think they might not be. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes it feels like they're not. What do you think, guys? Are carnists okay? I think they need a hug. And hashtag vegan, and let's go. Alt R screenshot of an article. Save. Post. There you go. Sorry, this took a little while. Now, thank you for participating in the thumbnail, I guess, guys. Thank you, appreciate it. Now, are the carnists okay? I think not. So, politicians sick after drinking, god damn it, after drinking raw milk to celebrate legalizing raw milk. Are the carnists okay? It doesn't seem so. So lawmaker says it's just a coincidence, as a stomach bug is also going around. Just sounds like a bit of a meat-flake cope. I'm not gonna lie. It just sounds bad. Politicians in West Virginia became sick after drinking raw milk to celebrate new legislation, which lifted a ban on raw milk. However, some politicians say it's just a coincidence, as there is a stomach bug also going around. What do you think? No justice lasts forever. Does this sound like a cope to you, or does this sound like a real thing? Sounds like a cope to me. Hello, Alpha Caros. Nice to see you again. Representative Pat McGeehan says he doesn't think the illness was caused by the raw milk. I don't know how he reached that conclusion. Surely everybody these days know that raw milk contains bacteria. Do they not? Do they not know this? I'm not feeling that great. I hope you shat your pants. But also I'm concerned. I think the carnists are not okay. And clearly they're not. They're getting sick left and right. Told the local news, blah, blah, blah. I think it's probably just some sort of a bad stomach virus. We'll try smelling raw milk after this experience and see if you vomit again or if you're gonna drink it again. I don't know. Every time I got sick on bad milk, couldn't smell that shit for months. There's definitely some other colleagues that have similar problems that I've been experiencing. The representative said he drank a small amount of the milk given to him by Scott Cadell, a sponsor of the raw milk bill. Raw milk is unpasteurized and can contain dangerous bacteria and parasites. Proponents of raw milk says it has a higher nutritional content than pasteurized milk. I guess the bacteria and the parasites do have their own nutritional value, and therefore if the bacteria and the parasites are alive in the milk, then raw milk that contains those bacteria and parasites definitely has higher nutritional value. Wouldn't drink it though, I think, but I think the carnists don't mind. I think they're just not okay. There definitely shouldn't be a law against allowing people to get sick. I'm just getting to go to do what they want within the framework of the rule of law. Well, that's why we outlawed unpasteurized milk, because it was too dangerous and numpties like you guys drank it and got ill. Just be careful. How wise to finish this amazing news. Let's continue. Are carnists okay? I think not. Farmer who starved Highland cows during drought fined. A farmer who starved his Highland cows during a drought has been fined. David Cameron left the animals in the field at Broadleaf's farm near Stirling without checking on them during the extended period of dry weather in the spring and summer of 2023. Yeah, carnists are not okay, I think, Bianca. I think you're right. What's up, Georgie? How are you doing? Animal health inspectors found 2 of the cattle in an emaciated state following a tip-off from an anonymous caller who must be a vegan, one of those annoying vegans. But I think the vegans are at least okay, because not only do they not want animals to get emaciated, they also don't want them to be slaughtered, which is the point here. I think carnists are not okay if they care about emaciation of animals, but don't care about their actual slaughter. It could be cope, you know, Georgie, it totally could be cope. While another had failed to develop others under birthing its first calf due to chronic malnutrition. Cameron, 72, who I'm sure loves animals, as every farmer does, was fined 1,040 euros after admitting a single charge of causing unnecessary suffering to animals at Stirling Sheriff Court. I wonder if he continues to farm animals, though. I think carnists are not okay if they continue to trust this man with actual sentient animal welfare, especially since for many, many years, this man has been raising animals and then sending them to have their throats slit. I don't mind no justice lasts forever. Like, I can just talk to myself. You can focus on whatever you want. The cows were later fed by staff at the local cattle mart and auctioned off. I wonder where they were auctioned off into. Would it be other farms where they're gonna be sent to slaughter one day? With proceeds going to Stirling Council. Cameron's lawyer said he had been a farmer for more than 50 years, has been sending animals to slaughter, and had never previously been involved in such an incident, except for periodically sending animals to slaughter. What's up, Johnny Vegan Seed? He said Cameron has been keeping the animals in the field before they were transported to Ireland, but that had been delayed. Cameron said he had arranged for someone to give the cattle supplementary feed and silage, but that ceased between April and June 2023. Jesus Christ. He was starving animal for literal 3 months. April. May, June. Sorry, vegan brain. Vegans are also not okay sometimes. Had to count it on my fingers. The cattle were said to be in a field where a negligible amount of grass was available. I think carnists are not okay. Why do carnist judges care about this? I bet they had a steak for dinner. Carnists are just a weird bunch. Let's continue. Scientists found bird flu in dairy cows. Here's why that's terrifying. Let's find out why carnists think this is terrifying. What a cutie. H5N1 bird flu has now crossed into US dairy cattle for the first time, and alarmingly, it did so through just one spillover from a wild bird. This single event, traced back to Texas in mid to late 2023, led to months of undetected cow-to-cow spread across multiple states. Well, it's because the farmers are not allowing the inspectors to come in and test the cows for the virus, isn't it? I think most people don't view death as a harm. It's an endless philosophical debate. Yeah, I know, but it just makes them look like they're not okay. It's just logical inconsistency. I would define that to be not okay. Genetic data show that the virus is adapting to mammals, jumping not only between cattle, but also into cats, raccoons, and birds. These developments significantly heighten pandemic concerns, with scientists calling for urgent, coordinated public health responses. Dear vegans, please, please, please make sure that you have masks at home. H5N1 jumps to dairy cattle concerning shift. Researchers have traced the spread of highly pathogenic avian influenza in US dairy cattle to a single spillover event from a wild bird. These findings has raised alarms around the virus's growing pandemic potential as it continues to evolve and move between species. So here's why I think the carnists are not okay. Do you think this would stop them from consuming dairy from now on? And be like, oh my God, I'm so scared of another corona-like pandemic that I'm just gonna stop giving them money. If not, then I think carnists are just not okay. Tracking the 2024 dairy outbreak in 2024, this virus strain was detected in dairy cattle across several US states, an unexpected and worrisome shift into a host species not commonly associated with the virus. To understand how this happened, Gwen, I did my best, and colleagues studied how the strain evolved and spread after it arrived in North America in late 2021. Let's not forget, we've been terrified about this virus for a while now. The team analyzed genetic data from more than 100 virus samples and had mixed with local, less dangerous bird flu strains. They also included newly sequenced genomes from infected cattle and outbreak reports. Their analysis points to a single bird-to-cow transmission event in Texas during mid to late 2023, which went undetected for several months and as the virus spread silently from cow to cow. So I don't know, this just makes it seem that the carnists are just not okay. Let's continue. Pierce County is gonna be dairy heavy and cow heavy, it seems. Pierce County residents' grassroots group challenged large dairy farms' permit to expand. Petition claims farm's plan doesn't do enough to protect water from potential manure contamination. So here's why I think carnists are not okay. They're okay to drink milk and eat cheese and shit, but they're not okay to live next to a dairy farm? How strange. Carnists, I think, are not okay. There is like a inconsistency there. Peace County residents and grassroots group are challenging a permit for a large livestock farm's plans to nearly quadruple in size. Ridge Breeze Dairy currently runs a 1,700 cow dairy farm in Pierce County. Under the plan, it would grow to about 6,500 cows next year. The expansion would generate nearly 78 million gallons of manure and wastewater annually. Alphacaros, we know you are not okay. So I'm not gonna ask you to represent carnists because you know you're not okay. But I think other carnists who wouldn't bite the bullets that you bite, I think they're also not okay. Well, no, you admit that you're a piece of shit. I would say that's not okay. A mushroom meat factory, definitely. Why should veganism be expected to solve all philosophical, ethical conundrums, but other applied ethical issues not? Yeah. School shooting. I think most people don't view death as a harm. Yeah. It's correct, Jeremy. I agree. In February, Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources granted the modified permit for the concentrated animal feeding operation, or CAFO. Midwest environmental advocates filed a petition for a contested case hearing Monday on behalf of the non-profit group Grassroots Organizing Western Wisconsin. I'm also not okay reading all of that shit. Brenner said in a statement that he long dreamed of owning land by the Rush River. He owns a home and local restaurant near fields where the farm plans to spread manure. With 6,500 cows, 80 million gallons of very potent manure being spread next to my land and around the county, I worry that dreams could become a nightmare. I agree. But then, you, my dear sir, are a carnist. You pay for this manure production via buying the, I guess, the byproduct of that manure production, which is dairy, right? I have 2 wells, one for the house and another for my business, that are now at risk of being contaminated. Carrie, isn't it incredibly late for you? How are you? It's nice to see you. Hello, UK Night Rider. Nice to see you too. Just let me click on that. Okay, good. A DNR spokesperson said that the agency is reviewing the petition and unable to comment further. Ridge Breeze Dairy remains committed to operating responsibly and transparently at the farm, continued through the regulatory process. As part of our expansion, we are following all state and federal environmental guidelines, including the rigorous permitting process administered by DNR. So I think the carnists are not okay. They're just not okay to live next to a dairy farm while being okay to drink the byproduct, which is dairy milk. It would be interesting. I'm being a bit facetious, of course, but it would be interesting. They're creating 80 million gallons of manure. I wonder how many gallons of milk are they creating? Let's see if we can make a rough estimate. I think, sorry guys, I'm gonna go on one of my tangents. My famous tangent. Okay. How many gallons of milk does one cow produce? So it's year on, year off, isn't it? So we're gonna have to cut it by half anyways. So yeah, for one, they like milked for 1 year and then not milk for another year, isn't it? That's how it usually goes. So it's around, at best is 9 gallons. At worst is 1.5. So let's say an average would be like a 5, isn't it? So 5 gallons of milk a day. Typical milk volumes by species. That sounds very little, doesn't it? So 5 gallons of milk per day times 365. Is it per day? Does it say? Does that sound a lot or too little? A dairy cow produces an average of 6 to 8 gallons of milk per day, so we probably should take 7. Well, okay. So, hold on. So a 7 times, god damn it. 7 times 365. But then we like divided by 2, because when they're pregnant and there is like another time that they are not milked for like 3 months until they get pregnant, all that shit. And now we time it by 6,500 cows. Well, that's gonna be. That's 8 million gallons of milk. That's 8 million gallons of milk that this farm will produce, while producing 80, where is it? Here it is. While producing 80 million gallons of manure. That's 10 times more manure and wastewater than the actual product. I think carnists are not okay. We now can claim that dairy is a literal byproduct of the manure production. I'm not okay either after making this count, like counting this. Even if the cow produced like throughout the entire lifetime, right? So didn't have to grow for 1 year before being able to get pregnant, didn't take breaks or anything like that, right? If we double that, it's gonna be 16 million gallons of dairy and 80 million gallons of manure. So however you do this, the milk is going to be a byproduct of manure production. This is funny tragic. What do you have to say about that? Hey, what's up, 80 Slim Shadies? How are you doing? I once read an article comparing how much manure pig farms produce to flesh. I think it was 8:1 or even higher. That's crazy. That's insane. Okay, let's continue. I think carnists are not okay. I think we proved it sufficiently, but let's kill the fucking subject. FDA suspends quality tests for milk, other dairy products after Trump budget cuts. Everybody in the US, I wish you the best of luck. Not only the carnists, but it's probably gonna be some kind of a spillover into vegan ingredients as well. So vegans in the US, I hope you are well. I hope you... Maybe you should buy a lot of food right now until the regulations ensue. Or buy something only for from vegan companies and shit, where like a spillover of dairy is not possible. Washington staffing issues at the Food and Drug Administration have led to the suspension of a program that ensures the quality of milk and other dairy products. According to Reuters, the agency announced the suspension in an internal email sent to employees Monday and viewed by the news agency. Starting Monday, the FDA suspended its proficiency testing program for Grade A raw milk and finished products. Grade A is given to products that meet the highest sanitary standards. It comes from a fucking TT. Hey, what's up, Chip? You missed something hilarious. So if you have time, yeah, right before this, go check it out. It was really funny for about 5 minutes. Oh, I didn't get any water. I will need to do that. The decision to suspend the program came after the FDA's Moffitt Center Proficiency Testing Laboratory said it is no longer able to provide laboratory support for proficiency testing and data analysis because funding, because Musk took funding away from a bunch of places. That center is part of the FDA division of overseas food safety, according to Reuters. People are gonna die. For real, people are gonna fucking die. The proficiency testing programs are designed to ensure consistency and accuracy throughout the network of US food safety laboratories. I would also say, like, maybe, perhaps, I'm not sure, this is a good time to not buy organic produce for vegans, because the manure data, yeah. Because, like, well, no, there is no reason to, actually. The look in your eyes when you said that is chilling, I believe you. Yeah. The FDA is actively evaluating alternative approaches for the upcoming fiscal year and will keep all participating laboratories informed as new information becomes available, the email said. As part of his agenda since taking office in January, President Donald Trump has ordered staff reductions across the federal government. The Department of Health and Human Services, which includes the FDA, has been an estimated 20,000 employees either be terminated or depart from the agency since January. The Trump's administration, well, so carnists are not okay because they had a job and now they don't. Trump's administration has called for cuts for up to $40 billion of the HHS budget. I think in the upcoming weeks, carnists are going to be very not okay. Very, very, very sick. Let's continue. Eating chicken and other white meat can shorten your lifespan, new study says. So, if you're a carnist and you eat corpse, you might be not okay in the long run. A large multi-year study of people in Italy found that eating more than 10 ounces of white meat, like chicken per week, was linked to a 27% increase in all causes death. Whoever wrote this is illiterate. That's why we're going to look at the study itself. And more than doubled the rate of gastrointestinal cancers. Jesus Christ. So we're now linking not only red meat, but white meat as well to gastrointestinal cancers. Other factors not researched in the study could be behind the increase, such as cooking methods or a lack of exercise. Dietitians recommend choosing healthier cooking methods, swapping processed chicken with free-range chicken. Carnists are just not okay, and carnist dietitians are even worse. And swapping out white meat for plant-based protein and seafood. Yeah, I was coming up to that. So 10 ounces, yeah, it's gonna say it in a minute. For years, the conventional wisdom has been to swap out red meat for white meat, like chicken or poultry. Chicken and poultry, it's funny. To help whoever wrote this is terrible. Lisa, I'm sorry. You should have taken a bit more care with this one. To help reduce health risks like increased cholesterol, cancer, and inflammation. Not to mention get a more budget-friendly protein source. But the new study links eating chicken and other poultry with significantly increased risk of dying from gastrointestinal cancers and all other causes. But before you put down the chicken or roll your eyes and get back to your chicken Caesar, carnists are not okay. Carnists writers are really, really not okay. The cope immediately ensues, and they tell their readers to start coping immediately. How incredible is that? But before you put on a chicken, okay, check out the details of the study and what a dietitian says you should do if you are concerned. about the dietary study and its findings. The study published in 4,869 people. That's a good cohort, based in southern Italy, who are part of a large long-term cohort studies and agreed to fill out dietary and lifestyle surveys. By the way, vegans, if you go to your doctor or whatever, or to a laboratory, and they say, would you like to participate in this lifelong study, like a genetic study or anything like that, sign up quickly. I know it's a bit of a, I don't know, feels like intrusion of privacy or whatever, but the data in in 10, 20 years is going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really good. Yeah, I think vegans should sign up to that kind of shit. I'm in one. I'm in genetic study. Chicken is bleached in Australia too. Why? Why is it bleached? I should look for some studies. Well, I have the study right here. This study. This is what they didn't link to, but they wrote the name of it, so you can check it out. We're going to check it out in a minute. I just want to read down a little bit more. During the study period, which ran from 2006 to 2024, they shared information about their meat consumption, divided into red and white meats, and researchers tracked the cause of death of participants who passed away. The study found that those who ate more than 300 grams, a little more than 10 ounces of poultry per week, had a 27% higher risk of dying than those who ate less than 100 grams per week. Carnists are not okay. I barely know any people who don't eat some kind of meat every single day. And in much larger quantities than 100 grams per week, that's for sure. Like, can you imagine somebody ate 12 grams per week? Or 300 grams, so it's 36 grams per week or something like that would put you in a risk of colorectal cancer. Again, chicken or poultry per week. The risk increased even more for those who ate well above 300 grams range and was for all causes of death, including cancer and cardiovascular disease. They eat that per sitting over here. Yeah, that's how I know people interact with chicken, for real. The people who ate more than 300 grams of white meat per week also more than doubled the risk of dying from gastrointestinal cancers compared to those who ate less than 100 grams. This study does seem to conflict with previous studies, which obfuscation immediately, which found that eating white meat instead of red meat, so it doesn't conflict the goddamn thing. Hello, Ton, what's up? So here's the thing. Here's why this writer is terrible. This study does seem to conflict with previous study, which found that eating white meat instead of red meat was more protective against gastrointestinal cancers. Yes, if you compare the two, I guess red meat would be increase your risk more of a colorectal cancer. That doesn't mean that white meat itself doesn't increase risk of colorectal cancer. So there is no contradiction there, Lisa. And there are limitations on this kind of study. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, true. There are limitations to epidemiology for sure. This corner is for obfuscation. I'm sorry, guys, you couldn't see anything. Yeah. And now it's going to just saying what the problem is. So let's just take a look at the study. And maybe we can go back to reading about the problems. So, damn it. Poultry meat is currently among the most widely consumed meat in Italy worldwide. Results analyzing weekly poultry consumption. It was observed that subjects consuming more than 300 grams had 27% higher risk of death from all causes. So it's not from just colorectal cancer, it's from all causes. So Lisa really fucked it up here. because she made the claim that it's 27% of colorectal cancer, higher risk of dying than, oh, no, I fucked it up. That's all right. The nose consuming less than 100 grams, blah, blah, blah. A risk that for men increased to 2.61. So very interesting. Maybe Chip can read this stuff and give us his impressions. Our study showed that poultry consumption above 300 grams per week is associated with statistically significant increased mortality risk, both from all causes and from colorectal cancers. Or gastrointestinal cancers, I guess, because esophagus can have a cancer, stomach can have a cancer in it as well. The risk is higher for men than for women. So carnists are definitely not looking okay. Carnists don't look okay. Materials and methods, the details about the study population have been documented in previous publications. So this is just a lifelong study, and they, of course, checking many markers. Very interesting. I think carnists who've been replacing their red meat consumption because they're scared of colorectal cancer or gastrointestinal cancer, they're going to be not okay after reading this study. Or they're going to cope hard because Lisa provided them all the ways to cope with this. Let's continue. Scientists calculated how much meat you can sustainably eat in a week. I wonder what they mean by the word sustainable. No idea. What's up, William Murphy? These data results are very weird and strange for some of the results that aren't the headline results. Small amounts of red meat has a protective effect. It doesn't have a protective effect. It just doesn't have as much or at all a risk of elevating risk. That's what we know. You can be kind of, it doesn't have a protective effect. I don't know where you got that from, but you can send me the link to the study that says it has actual protective effect. But like the small amounts are like less than 50 grams a day. Less than 50 grams a day, you're not going to increase your risk of early death. So per the study, which study? Is it this study, the one that I showed? It doesn't talk about red meat, though. This study talks about red meat, you say? Let's check it out. Red meat. The consumption of poultry is often considered a healthy alternative for red meat. Oh, this is just blah, blah, blah. Let's see if there is a data on the fact. Yeah, let's go to 3 groups of meat consumption exposure were used: total meat, red meat, and poultry. The total meat group comprised lamb, pig, calf, and horse for red meat, and rabbit and poultry for white meat. Consumption for each type of meat was divided into 4 categories. Okay. The categories were based on optimal weekly consumption of red meat and poultry. Okay. An amount was increased by 100 grams per category to determine whether the trends existed. So statistical analysis. Let's go to results. Let's see if red meat appears in here. Higher consumption of red meat was observed among those who died from other causes of cancer, compared to 230 something for gastrointestinal cancer. For the remaining causes of death, the highest consumption of white meat, particularly poultry, was observed in deaths of gastrointestinal cancer, 3 that much per week, followed by deaths from ovarian cancer, is that? And death from some kind of cancer. Overall, for the 1,028 disease subjects, the percentage of red meat consumed out of the total weekly red meat consumption was 59%, while for white meat was 40%. Regarding specific causes of death among those who died from gastrointestinal cancer, the percentage of red meat consumption as proportion of total meat consumed during the week was 56%, while for white meat was 44%. The analysis of weekly red meat consumption as a proportion for total red meat for those who died from ovarian cancer, again, I don't know what this cancer is, was 64%, but that's not what, I'm guessing you're talking about gastrointestinal cancer. For other causes of death, the percentage of red meat consumption compared to the total amount of meat consumed weekly was blah, 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 while white meat was this. Okay, so far, mortality hazard ratios for red meat and poultry consumption. Let's see if we can, fuck. How can I, oh, there you go. Now I have to like make it smaller for you to see, but that's not helping. Okay. So that's poultry consumption, that's red meat consumption. Less than 150 grams per week. The result is 1. 80%. What does this mean? I don't know how to read this. P-value, blah, blah, blah. Model was adjusted for sex. So we're going to find it in the discussion, aren't we? So, fuck. I'm going to find it in discussion because I'm not smart enough to read all this stuff. I learned it once, but I don't remember how to do it. So mortality hazard ratios, table shows a protective effect against all causes of deaths observed for individuals who consumed 200-300 grams of meat per week. So, what? Shows a protective effect against all causes of deaths observed for individuals who consumed 200-300 grams of meat per week. The same protective effect was observed for men who consumed the same amount of meat. Regarding red meat, a protective effect against all causes of death was observed for those who consumed 150 to 150 grams per week. Okay, so I don't think this means what you think this means, though, William Murphy, right? Because they didn't, so the way epidemiology, nutritional epidemiology work is comparing, right, between comparing things. So they I'm assuming they didn't compare, because none of the tables show this, they didn't compare it to not consuming meat at all, right? And also, that's a tiny amount. Most people I know eat that in a day. Oh, the sample size it's pretty good. It's 4,800, something like that, cheap. But I think cheap, it would be better to look at it. So, cheap. I'm just gonna trust you that stuff to look at it, right? Discussion. The study produced population, there you go, 4,869 middle-aged Italian participants. To directly evaluate the effects of poultry consumption, we separated white meat from red meat intake. Our results show that consumption of more than 100 grams per week of poultry was associated with an increased risk of death, both from all causes and from gastrointestinal cancers, right? So I don't know what they meant here by protective effect, right? But it immediately shows a protective effect causes of death observed for individuals who consume 250 grams meat per week. So I don't know what they compared it to. So epidemiology must be comparative. Or I guess all science must be comparative. You should compare it to something. 200 grams stank here is tiny for most people yet. Yeah. To directly, so discussion again. Blah, 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 to directly evaluate the effects of poultry. Was associated with increased risk of death, both from all causes and gastrointestinal cancers. The risk increased progressively as the portion consumed increased and was greater than compared to the same portion of red meat. So I guess this, oh, okay, I get it. So they say that red meat is less carcinogenic and less death ensuing than poultry. So that's the comparison that I'm making. So that doesn't mean that like red meat doesn't increase gastrointestinal cancer risk. It's just when comparing between poultry and red meat, probably specifically in Italy for whatever reason, the white meat caused more cancer than the red meat. So that's how it works, right, in nutrition, William. No comparison to vegan. Well, I wouldn't even say we should compare it to vegan. We should just compare it to other foods. For instance, if you compare it to proteins such as plant proteins, right? So then this protective effect would disappear. I think, but what do I know? I'm not really that amazing at reading studies. Please, like, Chip, if you can tell me what's happening here. I think I'm correct. Anyways, let's move on to see if the carnists are okay. They might not be. I'm worried. My non-binary mommy heart is worried. Scientists calculated from how much meat you can sustainably eat in a week. So again, what the fuck does sustainable mean here? When it comes to eating meat, it sometimes seems impossible to strike a balance between doing the right thing for your body and for the planet. Now a team of environmental scientists, fuck them, has calculated a sweet spot that we can actually write on a shopping list. What do they mean by sweet spot? There. The cows killed just a little bit. I wonder if the beef industry produces also more manure than like beef calories. Poultry still showed a strong increased risk of gastrointestinal cancer mortality even with a Mediterranean diet rich in vegetables. Yeah, but like, Chip, I'm just asking, like, so in this study they compared red meat and poultry, right? That's how they reached the claim that red meat is protective, right? Because when they swapped white meat with red meat, the risk reduced. That doesn't mean that it's like eat more red meat or eat like however 200, 300 grams of meat per week, and therefore you will have a reduced risk of gastrointestinal cancer. That's probably not correct. That probably is still going to have increased risk of cancer if, for instance, comparing to plant proteins, right? Red meat's risk, though, was less severe than combined with vegetables. It's that the vegetables protect better against red meat than white meat. Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's the conclusion I came to as well. So, William, I hope, I hope this rings true. And if it doesn't, please let me know. Thank you for coming, by the way. So when it comes to eating meat, blah, 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 okay. Most people now realize that we should eat less meat for both environmental and health reasons. Carnists are not okay, guys. They don't even mention the fucking animals. The animals who have to die for this shit. Like, hold on. Let's get a little bit more light in here. So how can you talk about meat without mentioning the actual animals who have to die for it? I think it's like this scope. I think carnists are not okay. It's an insightful paper. Hopefully more research is performed. Yeah, I hope so as well. I mean, the research is plentiful. Like the book on, oh, hold on, that's not it. The book on how the IARC reached the conclusion on meat being cancerous. It's very long and has a lot of citations. I didn't read all of them, but I read some of them. So I don't know, there is like a lot. A lot of it. Where did I put it? It's probably in health. I should... Oh man, I need to find a way to organize this. So the book is pretty substantial. Let's open it. There you go, William. So this is a book from IARC on how they came to the conclusion that red and processed meat are cancerous. Now I think they should, like in a few more studies, I guess, they should add white meat to that as well, possibly higher than red meat. Unless there is something like specific going on there. I don't know, but let's continue with this. I should make it bigger for you guys. Yeah, but it's hard to relate to how much less and whether it really makes a difference in the big picture, says lead author Caroline Gibara, an environmental scientist at the Technical University of Denmark. That's why she and her team calculated a tangible figure, 255 grams of poultry or pork per week. If the Italian study is correct, that puts them in risk of all-cause mortality and gastrointestinal cancer. The carnists are just not okay. Just eat plants. Wow. Yeah, that people can factor into stocking their fridges. That's roughly 2 chicken breasts. And that's roughly 2 chickens who had to die for this. It's also 6 to 10 times less meat than the average US or European citizens ate in 2021. The carnists are definitely not going to be okay. The carnists who in 2021 ate 6 times more meat than what is increases mortality and gastrointestinal cancer risk. The carnists from 2021 are definitely not going to be okay. I'm a bit facetious, but that's okay. No one eats that little meat, yeah. That's right, Pia. Substitution of red meat with legumes in the therapeutical lifestyle change diet based on dietary advice improved cardiometabolic risk factors in overweight type 2 diabetes. Yeah. I would have preferred going for the healthy population because people might say, well, I don't have diabetes, therefore. Yeah, diabetes increases the risk of fucking everything. That's why I'm terrified of diabetes. Like, my entire family has diabetes. I'm terrified of it. That's what made me lose weight in the first place, like 3 years ago. They adjusted for age, sex, smoking, physical activity, and even Mediterranean diet score. That's good. Yeah, it's good. It looks like a good study, yeah. I should probably add it to my thingy, right? To my website. If you don't know, guys, this is the website I'm talking about. Come on, come here. So I'm creating like this website where I can point to when people make outlandish claims, and I can tell them, no, you didn't. Oh, why is it like that? Why? So I guess I'll just put it in as a text. All right. So that I know to check it out later. All right. In a few years, that shit is going to be like an amazing resource. I hope I don't run out of steam to fill it. But mind you, the outcomes change independent of BMI change. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know, but still, most people don't, they'll hear type 2 diabetes and say, oh, this doesn't relate to me. So plants have an independent benefit, yeah. For real. Oh, where are we? We are here. The study suggests red meat, especially beef, cannot be part of an environmentally sustainable diet. And guess how many carnists would care about this? I think carnists are not okay. They're like illogical. Sorry. That's probably because a lot of land must be cleared to farm animals like cows and sheep, which then emit methane, a greenhouse gas 28 times more potent than CO2, and nitrous oxide 270 times more potent than CO2. Jesus Christ. Through their waste and feed crops. So I think the beef is also the what's kilograms of greenhouse gas emissions. Look at that. Holy fuck. Look at that. The first fucking plant food is like, what is it like? 15 times less. Isn't it? No, that's how many? Much more. It's 21 times less than the beef. Rice and grains, it's 21 times less, emits less greenhouse gases than beef. You must be really, like as a carnist, you must really value your taste pleasure, your personal gain to like ignore this. The carnists are not okay, I think, guys. Our calculations show that even moderate amounts of red meat in one's diet are incompatible with what the planet can regenerate of resources based on the environmental factors we looked at in the study. However, there are many other diets, including ones with meat, that are both healthy and sustainable. Doesn't seem to. Even pork is 4 times worse, or 3.5 times worse than... Can I make this bigger? Not really. This is, guys, this is rice and grains. You might not see this. This is pork. Pork is 12.3 kilograms of greenhouse gas emission per kilogram of food. And rice and grains, the highest plant, is 3.6, so 3.5 times more per kilogram of food. Should probably calculate this per protein though, and not per kilogram of food. That would be more helpful because people eat those foods, those big foods that are all animal products. They eat them for protein. So, okay. Humans have been eating animals and their byproducts for at least 2.6 million years. What is the relevance of that? So what? Should we not change? Should we not adapt? Should we not move on from whatever we did as monkeys? Should we continue to do this completely destructive poison on the earth? And we're not going to stop anytime soon. I think carnists are just not okay. They come from the assumption that they're just not going to stop. They're just not going to stop. We ate each other 2.6 million years ago, Tone. For some reason, researchers don't lump beef and dairy together. Well, back to my actual site. Yeah, there is a reason for that. It's because, hold on, let me find it. Anyway, that's not it. That's not it. It is gonna be in the environment, isn't it? So, oof, it's tiny. I'm so sorry, guys. It's so tiny, I can barely see it. Let's try to make it as big as possible. So the beef, fuck, it's just so tiny. So this is, the top one is the beef. It's the worst. It's the beef from beef herds. And the beef from dairy herds has about 2.5 times less environmental footprint than the beef. So that's why they don't lump it together. It's just the granularity of it. What's up, Martin Kevin? How are you doing? We lived also millions of years in caves. Don't stop us from building houses, though. Yeah, for real, Bianca. I don't understand why people do that shit. So milk is lower because it can be obtained earlier, I suppose. I don't know. I'm not sure how all of this happens. I just, I don't know. Environmental sciences are beyond my ability to... I just should know my limitations, guys. I just should know my limitations, and that's one of my limitations. I just don't know. Humans have been eating animals for the... Right, okay. So, yeah, so I think we know that carnists are just not fucking okay. That's what's happening. Yeah. So vegan... Pescatarian can be as an optimal diet. So it depends on what kind of diets. I think this is a breakdown on types of diets. Yeah, and vegans are somewhere here. There's a vegan there. There are some sustainable vegan diets. Yeah, we should replace chocolate, I think, and then the vegan diet is going to be absolutely sustainable. VPM, come on, you're doing great. Yeah, but just, accepting one's limitations is a good thing, because then I can ask for help from somebody else. I dreamt of running the family farm until I lost my arm as a child. This carnist is definitely not okay. This carnist farmer. William Sawyer's dream as a child was to take over the family farm, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye when he lost his arm in a farming accident as a 12-year-old child. Animal husbandry is child abuse, not just animal abuse. He was 12 when his life changed forever, determined to finish slowly spreading on the family's farm in Donemana, County Tyrone. He was checking how the tank was feeling when his unzipped coat was caught in a fast-moving machinery. As a 12-year-old child, this child was made to spread manure with dangerous machinery. I think farmers are fucked, and carnists are not okay for paying those savages for the product that they produce. Let's just move on. This one is incredibly upsetting. Carnists are not okay. Mira Sutras, I'm thrilled to have new ingredients in the kitchen. If you haven't heard of Mira Sudha, she's been, it's gonna say. A couple of weeks ago, fans of Mira Sudha's long-running vegan recipe column, The New Vegan, were given the news that after 8 years of championing vegan cooking, introducing even the most committed of omnivores to a more sustainable way of eating, The Guardian has asked the chef to add eggs, dairy, or both to half of her recipes, moving forward with the article Mira Sudha. I'm thrilled to have new ingredients in the kitchen. Here we find a carnist who is totally not okay. Unfortunately, he will use his other arm. Yeah. That's funny, tragic for sure, Val. At the time of writing, the Guardian online food section contained recipes for crab soup, panna cotta, pork sausages, and the cheesy tray bake. And Sudha's 2 new vegetarian recipes were live too. The overwhelming majority of recipes on the site aren't vegan. Plus, it regularly covers stories on the worsening bird flu pandemic, the environmental impact of animal agriculture, and animal welfare controversies within farming, which take the Guardian requests of Mira to start using animal products in her recipe all the more questionable. The Guardian carnists are not okay, guys. I would say they need a hug, but I think the animals deserve that hug much, much more. Milking it are plant-based foods all they've cracked up to be. So why has it done so? Okay. Since 2022, plant-based diets and vegan lifestyles have been increasingly found themselves in the spotlight. Unit sales of plant-based foods increased by 9.3% between 22 and 23 in the UK, following something of a boom, and several brands scales back their offerings or went into administration, and the cost of living crisis impacted spending power. Vegan diets are cheaper. Increased scrutiny of ultra-processed foods has also prompted a shift towards brands perceived as more natural. The appeal to nature fallacy is fucking up the carnists. Carnists are not okay, I think. Interestingly, Sudha referenced pre-packaged vegan UPFs in her article in a negative manner, even though plant-based UPFs are not associated with the same negative health outcomes as meat and dairy-based UPFs. Yeah. Recently, though, Plates London became the first ever UK vegan restaurant to win a Michelin star. Vegan Pasty took home the Pasty of the Year awards in the British Pie Awards, and interest in the brands that center tofu and tempeh. Oof, I already ate tofu today. Would it be bad of me to eat more tofu today? Just anybody ever mentions tofu, I'm like starting to salivate. I also probably should have a drink of water or something. Plus whole foods such as beans and pulses is searching among the health conscious. So while the market has certainly fluctuated, the plant-based sector seems to be on an upward trajectory and set for further growth. So let's skip to the conclusion. What to do when messaging muddies the water? Guys, just read this. This is a Freedom Food Alliance article. You can just read that, guys. Tofu is amazing. Alpha Cars, now we know you're not okay. Tofu is fucking amazing. Your taste buds are fucking dead. Now I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking this personally. Alpha Cars, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not okay. Did you know that this fucking plonker, Gwyneth Paltrow, was paleo for years? I think Gwyneth Paltrow is not okay. Gwyneth Paltrow has started eating carbs and cheese again. Gwyneth Paltrow says she has moved away from her years-long strict paleo diet and is venturing back into carbs and cheese. She's 52 years old. The gastrointestinal cancers start around that time. I hope she escapes it. I hope she's okay. She had previously told her basket listener that she had this gene raising her risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. Why do you think paleo diet helps you there? And have to be really careful to not have inflammation in my brain. Gwyneth Paltrow is not okay. Gwyneth Paltrow is not okay, but we actually already knew that, I think. She has the goop shit and all the vaginal eggs and all that stuff. She's definitely not okay. She's the queen of quacks, absolutely. Under the paleo diet, people follow a mean plan intended to be similar to that. Hunters and gatherers who lived during the Paleolithic era between 2.6 million and 10,000 years ago. Why? It's just so fucking random. They eat lots of fruits, vegetables, nuts, lean meats, and fish while cutting out dairy products, sugar, grains, legumes, and highly processed foods. So guys, dairy is evil, right? Don't get me wrong. Dairy is really, really evil. But actually, like, fermented dairy is protective. Again, depends on what you are like comparing it to. It's protective against gastrointestinal cancers. So the paleo diet is like on its face is just like the premise is wrong. We now find out with new studies coming out all the time. Something interesting that that study kind of shows highly processed plant-based foods still healthier cancer-wise than any meat. Yeah, plants are for the win. What's up, Albert Otto? What's my favorite food? It's gotta be tofu. It's gotta be, I think. I also absolutely love fruits. I'm now like trying to like appease both gods. I make like high protein fruit smoothies in the morning. Oh, absolutely fantastic. I'm coping. What am I coping with, Alpha Caros? What am I coping with? What a claim. What am I coping with? I just made the concession that fermented dairy might be like health protective, right? So what exactly am I coping with? I had a friend who did carnivore paleo diet and he would buy $20 off the most expensive ground beef every day, cook and eat it all in one day. That sounds terrible, William. Both for the cow and the friend. Hey, what's up, Felek? I just read an article today that USDA withdraws a plan to limit salmonella levels in raw poultry. Can you send it to me? Please. Please send it to me if you can find it, Felek. Things are going crazy. That's what I keep saying today. Carnists are not fucking okay. They're just not okay. Because like tofu, since you can't eat real meat. Well, tofu is not a meat replacer. Tofu is its own thing. It's more of an egg replacer if you think about it. It just happened to have like the same protein profile or very similar protein profile to like raw beef. But it's like it doesn't supposed to replace beef taste-wise. Like you just don't know how to cook. Your fucking taste buds are dead. Well, that's your opinion, but the thing is, tofu is delicious. Send on Discord. Yes, I heard the thingy. The thingy pinged. The thingy. Oh, Christ. We're gonna add it to the roster, guys. We're gonna read it later. Felix, something very funny happened. We counted how much dairy, how much actual milk a dairy farm produces. And we compared it to how much manure the dairy farm produces. So it was like a rough estimate, but it basically produces 10 times more manure and wastewater than milk. So wouldn't that make milk a fucking byproduct? Felek, please tell me. Wouldn't that make milk a fucking byproduct of manure? Wouldn't dairy farms be fucking manure producers? Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Right, so The Guardian is not okay. The Guardian is not okay. Actually, I thought Mirosodha was actually vegan, but apparently she's not. That sucks to find out. That sucks for vegans as well. So Gwyneth Paltrow, we went through that. Gwyneth Paltrow is totally not okay. So the paleo diet is absolutely random. The restrictions of eating paleo have started to rankle with Paltrow, however. I'm a little sick of it, if I'm honest. I'm getting back into eating some sourdough bread and some cheese. Cheese is kind of gastrointestinal protective, depending what you're comparing it to, I guess. I don't have access to smoked tofu, and it's like one of the worst things in the world, I think, that I don't have access to smoked tofu. Oh, Martin Kevin. Send me some. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So Gwyneth Paltrow is not okay. This, I did have the earlier access to it at work, I think. But I can't open it here. I should go to work and send this to myself again. This study was backed by Chekhov's, Beef Chekhov, I think. And their conclusion is, our results demonstrated that the anabolic action of animal versus vegan dietary patterns are similar. Moreover, there is no regulatory influence of distribution between the two dietary patterns on the simulation of myofibrillar protein synthesis rates in young adults. So I read this thing. So the design is they split them into 4 groups. 2 of the groups ate animal-based diet. 2 of the groups ate like a plant-based diet. With equivalent protein. Somehow the animal-based diet, they had a little bit more carbs in the diet. It makes sense. Like if they leaned on proteins such as like tofu that has like 1 gram of carb per 100 grams of tofu. And then they, another split was that one of groups in each group had, so they split them in 2 groups. One ate animal-based protein or animal-based diet, the other ate plant-based diet. Then they split each group into 2 more groups. One ate protein like every couple of hours or so, the way bodybuilders do. They kind of distribute protein throughout the day somewhat evenly, and the other one didn't. They just get like whatever, right? It wasn't evenly spread, and they found out that none of that mattered. They took biopsies and shit. They took biopsies from the legs of these people and looked at the actual fiber, and there is no difference between them. That's a 4th similar study. I've added it. I've added it to my. Why is it so hard? I've added it to my site. So plant protein. So I had 3 of them so far. I had this one that compared the 2 diets, found no difference in strength or body composition. This one is in elderly, found no difference between a vegan diet and an omnivorous diet. This one was also backed by the meat industry, found no difference. And this is the 4th one so far. I think at this point, like, it probably warrants a meta-analysis with like a bunch of epidemiological studies as well. You can like put it in a meta-analysis and it's gonna become a myth. It should become a myth. It's no longer fucking relevant. So yeah, I think if carnists read this, they are not okay for not choosing the plant-based diet. And I think we made the case for it so far. So this is what Felix sent me. So remember we read that USDA is not gonna scientists, where was it? It was here. So only a while ago, FDA suspends quality tests for milk. So now apparently, USDA withdraws a plan to limit salmonella levels in raw poultry. Everybody in America, seriously, best of luck. Best of fucking luck. Carnists are not okay. Vegans are also not gonna be okay because that shit is gonna be spread. Look at that. How can you claim that somebody is okay if they eat this? How can you make the claim that they're okay? It's a literal fucking dead body. Agriculture department will not require poultry companies to limit salmonella bacteria in their products, halting a Biden administration efforts to prevent food poisoning from contaminating meat. Jesus Christ. It's getting hot in here. One sec. Jesus fucking Christ. The department on Thursday said it was withdrawing a rule proposed in August after 3 years of development. Officials with the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service cite feedback from more than 7,000 public comments and said they would evaluate whether it should update current salmonella regulations. This is astonishing. The rule would have required poultry companies to keep levels of salmonella bacteria under a certain threshold and test for the presence of 6 strains most associated with illness, including 3 found in turkey and 3 in chicken. If the levels exceeded the standard or any of those strains were found, the poultry couldn't be sold and would be subject to recall, the proposals had said. The plan aimed to reduce the estimated 125,000 salmonella infections from chicken and 43,000 from turkey each year. According to USDA, overall salmonella causes 1.35 million infections a year, most through food, and about 240 deaths. Carnists are gonna die. How can anybody claim that carnists are okay? That they can't. The withdrawal drew praise from the National Chicken Council. How can anybody claim that farmers are not trying to kill the people after this? 1.35 million with the regulation. Now imagine removing these regulations. Massive, yeah. First of all, it's not it, William. Chickens are sentient beings with sex. So it's a he or a she, right? You can say they if you don't know their sex specifically. And even if you grow your own chickens, well, first of all, it's a fucking animal abuse. You grow them to kill them. In any other context, even if you like replace chicken with a dog, you would find that abhorrent, I hope, or I suppose. But second, doesn't prevent salmonella. It makes it even worse because you're not going to be testing the corpse for salmonella, whereas until lately, at least, there was at least some kind of governmental test to limit the amount of salmonella. Oh, okay, you meant grow plants, vegetables, not chickens. Yeah, okay, but even then we're not safe if you put manure on that. That's why I'm saying, like, even vegans in the US are fucked. Jesus Christ, it's like a war outside. One second. The construction is starting to get on my nerves, for real, for real. Fuck, it's so loud. I hope you guys can't hear it. The drew praise from the National Chicken Council, an industry trade group, which said the proposed rule was legally unsound, misinterpreted science, would have increased costs and create more food waste, all with no meaningful impact on public health. I suppose if like the public actually go by the guidelines of cooking chicken, that means they put on gloves and whatever the chicken touched, they wipe down with bleach. Then that reduces the risk of salmonella infections substantially. And then they cook the corpse to incredibly well done, I guess, or to the desired temperature. So they have to have a thermometer. Then it wouldn't have impact because, like, if you wiped everything down and you wore gloves, and everything was thrown away in a manner disposed of. Everything that touched the corpse was disposed of in a way that eliminates the infection rate, right? Like, you know what I mean. And then it was cooked to on high temperatures, to a desired temperature, to a specific temperature that kills salmonella. Then sure, there would be no impact. How many people do you know that cook like that? How many people do you know that cook chicken like that? I know 0. Well, I know 1. And she has a doctorate in biology. But if it's too cooked, it raises the risk of cancer. Chip, I'm telling you, carnists are not okay. They're just not okay. We remain committed to further reducing salmonella and fully support food safety regulations and policies that are based on sound science. But the move drew swift criticism from the food safety advocates, including Sandra Elkin, a former USDA official who helped draft. All right, let's move on. This is the last story I have, guys, and then I'm gonna go. So I saw this on Blue Sky, and don't mean to get political or anything like that, but let's take a listen.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are going to go bankrupt now. We are going to go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported, and he was coming after immigrants. Yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business. Maybe y'all saw the news.
So the farmers in the US probably disproportionately voted for their own demise. So this is a good conclusion to our inquiry into whether carnists are okay or not. So the product that animal farmers produce increases your risk of early death, especially from cardiovascular risk, but we didn't talk about that, gastrointestinal cancer, and from bacterial load such as salmonella and whatever the fuck is found in raw milk. But the good news are that it's gonna kill a lot of carnists, but the good news are that it might end carnism in the US. So guys, what do you say? Put 1 in the chat if you think carnists are not okay. Put 2 in the chat, Alpha Caros, if you think that carnists are just fine. I will await. Alpha Caros is immediate. Some people have to learn the hard way. Well, the hard way causes demise in this case, either of your business or of your body. Alpha Caros is lucky he's not from the US, I think, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Definitely, I think carnists are not okay. So guys, unless you have propositions of something else to read that will prove to Alpha Caros that carnists, especially in the US, but everywhere else, just not okay. They're not going to be okay in a few years. Alphacarus is a young man. When he reaches his 50s, that's where the shit starts. So Alphacarus is not okay, but he's not yet seeing the signs of being not okay. No, Alphacarus is not vegan, you tops. No. Alphacarus is a carnist. I eat healthy. Well, apparently, do you eat less than 100 grams of meat per week? That would mean that you eat healthy. Yeah, Felix. Can you share the link that Blue Sky posts? Of course. Almost never on Blue Sky. Let me see how I do that. Copy link to post. There you go. Is that it? I think so. You got an amazing article. Felix is full of information always. Farmers oppose. Oh, fuck me. Fuck me. Guys, even more proof that carnists are not okay. From 2016, I think I read it, Felix. It's not true. It's not true. It was. I read it and I made a video on it, but then after a while, it was an assumption from somebody. It wasn't true. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. They should oppose the bestiality bill. They should. But it wasn't. Unfortunately, this wasn't correct. Almost nobody reported on this either. So it's like only this publication, only independent, posted it, and it was murky as fuck. Because when you saw the actual bill, it doesn't say that. Right. If collagen doesn't count, then maybe. Well, again, Alphacarus, my darling, I think we got to the conclusion that eating collagen is not the same as taking the hydrolyzed collagen. That's what you showed me evidence for, hydrolyzed collagen. So unless you take the collagen, which would be kind of redundant because you can produce your own collagen by taking vitamin C or by eating vitamin C and vitamin E, stuff like that. You know, it's just like... collagen peptide is even stupider because it's not a hydrolyzed collagen, so you didn't send me evidence for that. But in any case, right, so it can like, what can collagen do? Well, it can kind of like rejuvenate your skin or so whatever. It will do fuck all for your colorectal cancer risk and for your all-cause mortality risk. So I'm sorry, Alphacarus, you are just not okay. You just don't know it yet. Let's continue, guys. It's hydrolyzed, okay. Well, you're gonna have an amazing skin while battling cancer. Right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you. I think we should hug our local carnists while we still can.